Last time on 999.
I said leave me alone!
Well, wherever he's disappeared to, we must find him as quickly as we can. For Clover's sake.
This, the guts of the bread.
Why wouldn't you wonder who the hell put it back in here?
He heard the sound of the numbered door slam shut behind him. Bracelet gave a cold electronic beep.
81 seconds left! Hurry!
Lotus snapped at him and ran to the dead. Junpei and Clover followed her as fast as they could.
It stopped.
With a shaking hand, she wiped a few beads of sweat from her forehead. Clover, however, was calm, aloof perhaps.
Pointless.
She muttered to herself, without emotion, and began to walk down the hallway, leaving behind a confused Junpei and Lotus. Lotus watched the girls receding back with a mix of frustration and curiosity.
What an unpleasant girl. I bet she's not too popular with the boys.
Her sarcasm seemed a little more biting than was perhaps necessary, but she sighed and started after the younger girl. After taking a moment to catch his breath, Junpei followed. The hallway made a number of turns before at last coming to a dead end. Set into the wall on the left side was a large iron door. For a few minutes they stood in front of the door, examining it. Above the door was a plate with the word laboratory engraved on it.
A laboratory, huh?
That doesn't sound very pleasant. I don't like the look of this place.
Me either. But there aren't any other doors. It's not like we have a lot of choices.
Junpei.
Huh?
Please, you first.
Junpei suspected her politeness was motivated by something other than respect. Junpei muttered to himself and pushed open the iron door. His first steps inside were tentative and careful, but as he examined the room, it became clear that there was no imminent danger. Lotus followed him in, and Clover brought up the rear. The room they found themselves in was divided into two separate areas by a curved wall. A thick glass window built into that wall made it possible to see into the other side of the division. Junpei walked to the window and looked through.
What the hell?
He wasn't sure what else to say. In the center of a room shaped like a quarter circle, a mannequin lay on what looked like a medical exam table.
That looks so creepy.
Junpei jumped a little. He hadn't noticed Lotus come up next to him.
You don't think that thing is going to suddenly sit up or something, do you?
Well, I don't know. I mean, look at all those cables sticking out of it. If we press the wrong button, I don't know.
Stop it. Just thinking about it is terrifying.
She was gripping her arms, the knuckles on her hands white. It was then that Junpei noticed Clover. She was still standing near the entrance of the room. Her face had the appearance of calm, but it was drawn and somehow sad. There was something almost pitiful about her. Junpei walked over to her and, as kindly as he could, spoke.
Are you okay?
Clover looked away.
What are you talking about?
What? I'm just worried about you. You've been real quiet.
What, I can't be quiet if I want to?
Well, I mean, of course you can. I just...
Okay then. I can be quiet if I want, just leave me alone, okay?
Come on, you know I can't do that. We gotta work together.
Clover bit her lip and was silent for a moment. Then suddenly,
Hey, you just don't get it!
her cry took Junpei by surprise, and he stumbled backwards a few steps, alarmed.
My brother's not the kind of person who'd just leave me behind! Something's happened to him. Something bad.
Junpei had nothing to say. Lotus, jolted from her mannequin nightmares by Clover's voice, turned toward them.
What happened?
Clover's eyes slid to Lotus, then back to Junpei.
Look, just don't bother me, okay? Leave me alone.
Finished, she turned around. Before Junpei or Lotus could say anything, Clover had begun to walk quickly away.
Hey! Wait, Clover! Hold on!
He might as well have been talking to a wall, for all the notice she took of his cries. Not even slowing down, she made for a doorway cut in the wall in front of her. Without even slowing down, she passed through the doorway. And without warning, an iron gate fell from the ceiling like a portcullis, sealing Clover in.
What the heck? What's going on here?
Clover grabbed hold of the iron bars and shook them as hard as she could.
Hang on! I'll get it open!
Junpei grabbed the bars and pulled. In a moment, Lotus joined him. The three of them pulled as hard as they could, but...
Damn it! It's not moving!
Wait! Are you just gonna give up? Just like that?
No, I'm not giving up. This has gotta be another one of Zero's puzzles.
If it is, then there's gotta be a way to open it.
Junpei nodded.
Just what I was thinking. All we gotta do is find it. Lotus and I can look around out here. Clover, you're gonna have to see if you can find anything in there.
Yes, I'm on it.
Time to get Clover out of there! We gotta find her a way out. I think this thing's supposed to power that machine in the other room.
Well, it doesn't appear to be doing that. I wonder how we're supposed to turn it on.
This is a keyhole.
This looks like a keyhole for the activation key. You know, the key that activates it. And there's a lot of stuff here.
I don't know how we could use any of these.
Well, I can say for sure that I know how to use at least one of these things.
Which one?
The one on top. I think it's a power cable.
The power cable, huh? I'll take that. This monitor doesn't have a power cable, so one end of this cable needs to be connected to a monitor, and the other end needs to plug in under the desk. Alright, let's just slip you in. Huh? Oh shoot, I can't use this.
What's wrong?
This cable has 3 prongs, but the socket only has 2 holes. It's not gonna fit is what I'm saying.
In other words, we're gonna need a plug to change the power cable to one with 2 prongs.
That's right. A window made out of really thick glass. I don't think even a bullet could break it.
Junpei, do something, please.
Don't worry, we'll get you out of there soon. Hey, Clover! How are the power cables over there?
Huh? What do you mean?
Does the plug have 3 prongs or 2?
I don't know what you're talking about. Let me go look.
Guess she does have to kind of crouch down to get a look under there.
The cable on the monitor has, it's got 2 of them. those little metal things. What does that mean?
That's it! Okay, can you unplug that cable and bring it over here?
Okay, but...
But?
Well, I can unplug it, but it's connected to the main computer. I can't take it over to you.
Damn it, that's no good then.
Well, how about just the plug?
What?
The plug? Well, maybe more like a connector? It's the sort of thing that makes the plug with the 3 metal thingies into a plug with 2 metal thingies. Still useless?
Not useless! Not useless at all! That's just what we were looking for!
Okay. Can you hold on for a little bit?
And back down she goes.
Alright. Unplugged. I'll hand it over to you at the bars, okay? Here. A 2-prong plug.
Thanks. Okay, put the 2-prong plug onto the head of this power cable. Alright, I've got the 2-pronged power cable in my hand. I'm pretty sure this'll work. Under the desk I go. Let's just plug this thing into the monitor. Alright, that ought to do it.
Alright, let's turn the power on.
I don't think anything's gonna happen.
Why not?
Well, it's not connected to the main computer.
You never know until you try.
Pretty optimistic.
Junpei pushed the button on the front of the monitor. With a soft hum, it turned on. Streams of letters that made no sense to Junpei began to scroll across the screen. He had hoped it would turn on, but he hadn't expected this.
Huh? It's actually working?
So it would seem.
Isn't that kinda weird?
What?
Well, it's not connected to the main computer, right? There's just this keyboard and a monitor. The only cable connected to this thing is the power cable we just plugged in. So, why is it working?
Maybe it's a wireless display.
Clearly, this was a reasonable explanation to Lotus.
Wireless display?
Yes, it connects to your computer wirelessly. Hence the name. Have you been living in a cave, Junpei?
He most certainly had not, but...
Is that normal?
Yes, at least where I worked.
Huh?
As they spoke, the lines of letters suddenly stopped and disappeared. The only thing left on the screen was the word pass, followed by a colon.
It looks like we need to enter a password.
Again. There must be a hint around here somewhere.
Could you go take a look?
Yeah, I'm on it. What are you going to do?
I'll see if I can do something about this on my own.
On your own?
Yep, on my own.
Lotus pulled over the nearest chair and dropped herself down onto it in front of the keyboard. For a second, she stared at the screen. She kneaded her hands, knuckles popping, and twisted her back left, then right.
All right, let's kick some ass.
Lotus smiled to herself and rubbed her hands together in anticipation. Then, before Junpei had time to blink, she was typing at an incredible speed. The click-clack of the keys running together like machine gun fire.
What?
My hands are down here.
Junpei was, for once, at a loss for words.
Didn't expect that, did you?
Of course I didn't. What kind of job do you have? What are you?
I'm unemployed at the moment. I used to work for a cybersecurity firm, but I quit.
Why?
Lotus blinked.
Huh? Oh, it was just something.
She stopped typing for a moment, and her face fell. This was not an avenue of questioning to be pursued, Junpei realized, and quickly shut his mouth. Lotus's fingers began to move again, and in a few seconds she was back up to speed. As she typed, more letters and symbols that meant nothing to Junpei began to pour across the screen.
What are you doing now?
I'm going to try and brute force it.
Brute what?
A brute force attack is... The short version is just that I attack the thing head on. The long version...
Without looking up or slowing down, she began to explain,
A brute force attack is one of the simplest ways to break a cipher.
she told him.
It checks every possible combination until it finds the right one. For a complex cipher, it can take a very long time.
The thought of doing something like that made Junpei feel tired.
I'm writing a program to run just such an attack on its own. It's not the most elegant solution, certainly. But given the circumstances, there isn't much else I can do.
Even as she talked, her fingers never slowed or missed a key. Junpei couldn't help but feel a little odd.
Oh, but back to what we were talking about earlier.
What were we talking about?
The wireless display. It's kind of strange if you think about it, isn't it?
Huh?
How do I put it? Well, let's say you write a program that calculates an addition problem for you. Alright? So you enter 1 plus 1. The screen will show you 2. See? Isn't that strange?
No, not really.
Oh, come on now. Of course a caveman like you would think it was strange. You said so just a minute ago. You're just not getting it, are you? Who calculated 1 plus 1?
The main computer, right? You said it's connected to the monitor wirelessly.
Yeah, but someone who grew up in a cave wouldn't know that, right? They'd probably think that this thing here, the monitor, is doing the calculating. And once they've decided that, they'll start examining this monitor. They might poke the screen or something. Ah, I see. The color changes when I press it here. Then they might investigate the hardware on the inside. Ah, I see. So this wire supplies power. Eventually, they might even cut the wires. Ah, yes, just as I expected. When this wire is cut, no results appear. Therefore, it must be this device which does the calculations. But the truth is that, just like you said, the computer is doing the calculating. But these cave people wouldn't know that. Because they have no idea that the monitor and the computer are connected wirelessly.
Lotus continued to type. Junpei scratched his head.
So, what are you trying to say?
Nothing. Really. It's just... I thought maybe. What if the relationships between human beings and our brains is like that?
Huh?
Well, let's say you stick a bunch of electrodes into parts of the brain. A scientist examining the signals they send out might say, "Interesting. So stimulating this part of the brain causes this person to see colors. That must mean this neuron cluster controls that function. Okay, let's see what happens when I cut out this part. Ah, just what I thought. Cutting off this part causes that function to cease. Therefore, human thought processes must occur in the human brain." You get it? It's just like this monitor. Maybe the brain is just an output device, like this monitor. Maybe our thought processes actually occur somewhere else, in a main body. We just don't know it. We never even think about it. Just like those cave people wouldn't know about wireless communications. We can't imagine that there's some unknown medium that transfers information into our brains, where we experience that information as thoughts.
Junpei didn't say anything. Not so much because he had no retort. No, her argument just seemed silly, and he was a little surprised to be hearing something like it from someone like her. The brain is just an output device? Human thought actually occurs somewhere else? Did Lotus really think that, he wondered. It was a little creepy, Junpei thought. It sounded altogether too much like a bizarre cultish religion.
Maybe that's the cause of Seven's amnesia.
Oblivious to Junpei's increasing discomfort, Lotus continued.
If memory is actually stored somewhere else, in some sort of main body somewhere. Maybe he hasn't forgotten anything at all. He's just having a difficult time accessing his memories because the monitor, his brain, has been damaged. I suppose that would explain aphasias and blindsight too. Perhaps they actually can speak or see. The monitor just isn't functioning properly. I guess people with prosopagnosia could be suffering from the same thing.
Wait a minute. What?
He knew what aphasia was from watching medical traumas on TV, and blindsight was easy enough to guess, but he'd never heard the word prosopagnosia before.
What? You've never heard of prosopagnosia?
Lotus spun around in her chair to look at him. Junpei just shrugged and shook his head.
Nope. What is it?
Well, put simply, it means a condition where the mind can't distinguish between human faces. In other words, my face would look the same as Clover's, or even yours. So they can't remember faces, which is how most people recognize each other. And means that people with prosopagnosia have trouble recognizing even people they're close to. Usually, they can make do by associating people with other things. Their voices, their clothes, their hair.
Does that mean other people's faces look like blanks?
No. No, I don't think so. You've seen monkeys. Like in a zoo, right? To you and me, all the monkey faces look the same. Even though they've obviously got faces. It's almost impossible for a human to distinguish between them. The zoo staff that works with them could learn to identify different monkeys, eventually. But you or I couldn't, unless one had a scar or something else to set it apart. That's how people would be to someone with prosopagnosia.
Prosopagnosia, huh? Didn't even know that kind of thing existed.
Junpei did his best to act as though the entire lecture hadn't gone entirely over his head.
And, what were we talking about?
The idea that your brain is just an output device like a monitor.
Are you serious about that stuff?
Not really. I was just kidding for about half of it.
What about the other half?
Well, I guess I was just adulting.
Not funny.
Lotus's smile had something rather masochistic to it.
It's nothing more than a story I made up out of boredom. Don't take it so seriously. It was the first thing that came to mind, and I just talked about it to kill time. But it looks like I don't need to talk anymore.
Why?
I don't have to kill time any longer.
As she spoke, Lotus raised her right arm high and brought it down on the Enter key. The program took only seconds to analyze the system. Chunks of text flickered on and off in quick succession, and then a line of numbers appeared, blinked, and disappeared. The screen cleared, and all that was left was the word accepted.
Piece of cake.
Lotus would clearly have patted herself on the back if it would not have made her look entirely ridiculous. After a few seconds, the accepted disappeared, to be replaced with 9 squares, arranged in a 3x3 square.
What the hell is that?
No idea. It looks like a puzzle.
Suddenly, Lotus stood up.
Huh? Aren't you gonna, I don't know, do more computer stuff?
I can't do any more. It will let me do any more programming. See, the keyboard? Nothing. So there's nothing more I can do. Well, I guess I'll leave this to you then, Junpei.
What?
Let me take a break, alright? I did my part. Have fun with your puzzles.
Wasn't sure what to say to that. She certainly had done her part. In fact, without Lotus, they probably would have run completely aground. I shouldn't rely on other people so much, Junpei thought to himself. From here on out, he told himself, he would rely on no one else. Junpei crossed his arms and stared at the puzzle shown on the screen.
So when I press one of the panels, the colors of the ones next to it switch. Oh, looks like there's some text here. All panels green equals unlock. Restriction, no more than 4 attempts. will automatically reset after failure. In other words, I have to get all the panels green in less than 4 tries. Maybe I should run over the instructions one more time. I'm dealing with red and green or I shouldn't. Never mind. Let's give this a shot. Boom, boom, and boom!
That was fast.
All right! I solved it!
Did you hear a noise just now?
Yeah, I did. It sounded like something unlocking.
Where did it come from? Look, Junpei! The lights on the lockers are green!
Then we must have unlocked it with the computer puzzle!
Go, investigate or something.
There's more than one key in here.
This one is small and looks like it goes to some sort of machine. And this one has the Earth symbol on it.
I think the Earth symbol matches a keyhole in a door on the A deck.
Well, if that's the case, we probably don't need the Earth key right now.
Alright then, Earth key. I'll just tuck you away deep in my pocket. Now, as far as the other key.
It was just at that moment that he heard a voice behind him. It was Clover.
Hey, Junpei, do you have a minute?
He put the puzzle aside for the moment and walked over to Clover.
What's up?
I wanted to ask you something. Junpei, you went into door 5 with my brother, right? Did you hear him say, anything weird?
Why is she asking me this? Junpei wondered. The more he thought about it, however, the more it made sense. Snake had been gone for a long time. Clover was quite attached to her brother. Of course she would have been worried about him. He thought back to when he'd gone through door 5, hoping he might remember something, even a small something that would help her. However...
Sorry, Clover. I can't really think of anything. I mean, he did mention that his hearing exceeds that of a regular person, or something like that, but that's about it.
Okay.
Clover's words were barely audible. She nodded vaguely to Junpei and turned to walk away.
Hey, wait a minute. Look, I don't know if I should ask you things, but if you don't mind, I was hoping if you could tell me if, is Snake, was he born...
You're talking about his eyes?
Yeah.
No. He wasn't born blind. When he was a kid, he got into an accident. A really bad car accident. He couldn't see after that. And his arm.
His arm?
Yeah. My brother's left arm is... it's not like a normal person's arm. It's fake. It's not a real arm. The accident hurt him really bad. To save him, they had to cut off his arm. Is that all you wanted to ask?
Talking about her brother had clearly taken a great deal out of Clover. Junpei nodded.
Look, I'm sorry. For making you talk about all that painful stuff.
Clover only shook her head and walked off down the stairs.
This key. The shape sure makes it seem like it goes to this machine. Alright, I'm turning it on. Okay, the monitor is on now, and it's full of letters.
It's showing some kind of warning. Power restored to experimental device. Emergency system will activate in the event of abnormal subject behavior. Okay. What did you press?
Hey, Clover! There's a door over here, too.
Wait! I'll be right there!
I can hear her over there. Is this door gonna... Damn it! I can't open it! Clover! What about your side?
the knob! It's a rack. There are a bunch of cables on it. Somebody cut the outer stuff off the cables. I can see the wires inside. I don't know what kind of table this is, but part of it's all black. There's a pen lying over here. I think somebody probably used it to make the table black.
Well, if they only used a pen on one part of it, there's probably something underneath all that pen. Clover, do you think you can erase it?
Yeah, sure. Oh, this is a permanent marker. Junpei, do you know how to erase ink from a permanent marker?
Erase ink from a permanent marker, huh? Give me just a minute, Clover. I'll be right back.
Next time on 999.
Just hang on, Clover. I'm gonna get you out of there right away.
Okay, I'm gonna go all the way to max voltage.
Max voltage?
We might get separated for a little while, but we'll see each other again. Otherwise, we can't open door 9.
Let's start project.